I was a Russian major in college, Russian history, Russian politics, Russian language. That's been 40 years ago, especially regarding the language. I've forgotten as much as I ever learned. I can recognize Russian when it is spoken. But one thing that I noticed repeatedly with the Soviet government, Soyuz Socialisticheskih Respublik, SSR. Well, anyway, what I recognized was that they decided what they wanted to do and then created the arguments to support what they wanted to do. This method has been co-opted wholesale by the Republican Party. They have decided what they want to do, and then they determine arguments to support what it is they want to do. They don't work from, hey, here's the need. Let's think about how to meet that need, which creates the motivation for addressing the need. And then let's figure out a plan to meet that. No, let's figure out what we want to do. Then figure out the kind of simplistic arguments that'll appeal to our base. It's one of the main methods I've seen is a fallacy of the slippery slope. It is used constantly by Republicans and conservatives. Say you live in a country, and they decide that they would like to emasculate any man who has homosexual thoughts. Well, and anybody can be accused of that, which is handy if you want to get at people you don't like or political views that you don't appreciate. What you would do to justify that is that you would say, oh my goodness, this is such a slippery slope. If we don't nip this problem in the bud, if we don't nip it right at the beginning, then it's just going to become worse and worse and worse until you will not be safe. Your family will not be safe in their own home from sexual deviancy of the very worst sort. We've got to deal with this now in the bud at the beginning. Or, so it can be used to justify draconian measures, draconian legislation, laws, and punishments. Or it can be used to justify in the opposite direction, no laws and no governance. You might hear someone say, oh, come on, now anybody should be able to own any sort of arms that they can afford to buy. If I want to buy a Modus, I should be able to. Rocket-propelled grenades, if I can afford it, I should be able to buy it. And the reason why anybody should be able to do that is it's such a slippery slope. If I'm not allowed to buy rocket-propelled grenades, then where do you draw the line? I won't be able to own a .22. I won't be able to own a blow dart gun or a slingshot. Nothing will be allowed, and the jackbooted thugs will be able to come and terrorize my family in my own home. It's a slippery slope. Obviously, both of these are completely wrong. And the answer to where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line? It's always emotional panic. Where do you draw the line? You draw the line somewhere. Jeff Bezos, if he wanted to, could buy an ICBM nuclear missile, if he wanted to, with a nuclear warhead, I should say. If he wanted to, he certainly can afford it, but he's not allowed to. If you go walking around with a suitcase and law enforcement opens it and there turn out to be rocket-propelled grenades in there, I suspect you're going to be answering quite a few questions about that. There are some sexual acts that we tolerate, and there are some that you will go to jail for a long time, and your life is an extreme mess if you're even accused of some sorts of sexual deviancy, even if you've never been in contact with another person. So we draw the line somewhere. That is what the rule of law is. The rule of law draws a line so we all know where that line is. The slippery slope does not exist. Men of intelligence and goodwill are able to come together and decide what will we tolerate and what we will not. That takes thought. That takes wisdom. Very often the answer is not easy. Very often lots of people will be unhappy with where the line is drawn. But that's what government does and the rule of law does.